Okay, welcome to my channel. So as promised, this is going to be the Housing Choice Voucher Manual. This is the Employee Operations Manual. If you've ever wanted to know exactly what they're doing in order to determine how you go up and down the list and whether or not you get a voucher, this is exactly how they train their people to do it. So if you're reasonably intelligent, you can, figure out how to get yourself a little bit higher on the list by looking at how the manual is constructed and all the information they're giving, okay? This beats the hell out of you just walking in there not knowing. It also beats the hell out of doing tips and advice videos that will lead you nowhere, okay? So anyways, in order to get to this little website that I've created, it is www.hudhousing.weebly, WEEBLY.com. Anyways, you can find that link address in the comments section and also the description, okay? So you can follow along. Look, there's a lot of chapters, okay? And each chapter of this deal, as you can see, there's a lot of chapters and some that are coming. The most important, in my opinion, is going to be your eligibility and determination and denial of assistance, okay? Let's take a look at that. We're going to scroll down, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through quickly and summarize everything. So it should be about 10 minutes, okay? All right, so your eligibility factors here. Look, so they have family, income limits, your student status, and your citizenship status. Okay, these are the four major factors in whether or not you're going to get a voucher, and depending on how you answer their questions and the evidence that they require, will put you high or low on that particular list of getting this voucher. Okay. Moving on, section number 2, screening and other requirements for admission. Look, if you don't have a Social Security card, turn around, go back home. They're not going to deal with you, okay? If you're not willing to do a background screening or a criminal check, turn around, go home. And they use an EIB system basically for search. So basically with that, they're going to be determining whether or not you've been trying to apply for different houses across, 20 states. If you're trying to use 2 or 3 different systems at one time. In other words, they're trying to catch people in fraud, okay? So, if you're registered through multiple programs in different states, they will find out, okay? Moving on to 3, family eligibility and requirements, okay? Look, let's just summarize this. Single people and families, anybody that wants to apply, as long as you're meeting their 80% or less AMI, which is area medium income. So, give you an example. If you live in Washington, D.C., and the average income for that area is $60,000, they won't even allow you to get a voucher unless you're making somewhere around the 80% mark, okay? So 80% mark or lower, sometimes it's 50%, sometimes it's 30%, and you can read all about that in here, okay? So there are going to be some eligibility requirements in that arena. Here, they're going to give a description of all the different scenarios, okay? People love questions about it. Well, who's too young, who's too old, whether or not they're disabled, and things of that nature, and they'll go deeply into that, and you can figure out where you fit into that place, okay? Income limits. Look, that is going to be, in New York, making 90 grand, that could be low income over there, honestly, because people in New York make a lot of money. San Francisco, people pay $4,000 a month for a regular apartment. So you can imagine the income levels are very high. So what would be low income or 50% of the AIM, area medium income, could be actually pretty high. I mean, you could be making, 50, 60,000 a year and be considered perfectly low income. All right. So you want to take a look at that and then compare it with your medium income for your area and figure that out. Income targeting. Look, man, the closer you get to absolutely broke, the more that they're going to be willing to deal with you, okay? So they've actually created a new term. Now, you're not just low income, but you're super low income. I mean, how far do we need to go? And I guess to the point of you saying that you're homeless. So there is some income targeting, and what they mean by that is 75% of its emissions to any PHA or families and blah, blah, blah. So 75% need to meet at least the 50% mark, and then they will give a certain small percentage to people that make a much higher portion of income than the lower. Okay, and it tells you right here in quite clear definitions of what they're looking at giving away. by the percentage of the income that you're making, high and low, okay? Applying income limits. Of course, you always need to do that, and for a long time, it was a free-for-all. In other words, you could apply for housing and got that voucher when you were working at McDonald's, but now you've advanced, you've got a degree, you're a lawyer, and you're making $200,000 a year, and you're still sitting in the housing. Well, look, they're looking to fix that problem now. In other words, is once you advance to a certain income level, you need to turn in your keys and move on with life, okay? They're not going to continue to allow you to sit in that housing, and they're actively working in the Senate right now to fix a lot of this stuff as of 2019. Restrictions on students. Let me be very clear. When you're young, when you're under 24, and you're young, and you're perfectly capable, you don't have a disability, uh, your expectations to get into HUD housing is going to be very low. Okay, they're going to give you a lot of, because why? You're just starting life. You're perfectly capable of getting out there and doing your own thing. Okay, so they're not, they're going to raise the standard in which you can apply, which means they're going to make it harder for you. Okay, that's the simplest way to say it. The only exception to that rule is if you're a veteran, if you're married, if you have a bunch of kids, or you're having kids actively, and a few other things, that come along with that. But other than that, if you're just simply under 24 and young, yeah, they're going to give you grief about trying to get into housing. So just letting you know. Moving down, prohibition on assistance for non-citizens. Let me be very clear. I had to read through this pretty clearly, but there's an opinion around the country about immigration and illegal immigration, okay? Unless you have a social security card, forget about it, okay? Now, the secondary situation is if you somehow have come here legally and you have been granted amnesty, then there's a possibility that, you may be allowed into the system. Here's some other scenarios. You don't have a social security card, you're illegally here, they're not going to give you housing. If you're here illegally and you don't have a social security card, but you have kids that are born in the United States that do have a social security card, they will prorate the rent, which in other words, they're only going to help financially enough to cover what would cover your child on this program. And then what they'll do is not give you as much funding because you're involved in it, okay? And even then, I believe the Trump administration has been on quite a campaign to ensure that almost anybody that has come into the country illegally will benefit very little from this, okay? So that is the reality of this particular administration. I'm not going to politicize my videos about this stuff, as you all know. I'm not going to get involved in politics, religion, all that stuff. I'm out here to help people. I don't give a damn who you are, okay? So you're just going to get the facts. Okay, so they also talk about assistance to non-citizen students. Same thing. Student income eligibility. They're going to basically, unless you're over 24, you're going to have to reach a new height in order to get this stuff. And then let's just keep on going. Look, there's a lot of paperwork that's required, as far as your citizenship status. I mean, if you got a Social Security driver's license, that's fine. But if you're from another place, they're going to require a whole lot of paperwork. Okay. Now, you guys that have already made it through the system, you're here is legally, and you got your paperwork, you'll do just fine. Okay, it's actually a very simple system, but if you're not doing your record keeping, man, it's going to be a problem for you. Okay, documentation says okay. Well, it's just very lengthy. Okay, so I'm trying to get past that part. Uh, so we did talk about the mixed families. One person's illegal, the children are legal. They're going to prorate. That's just what it is. Okay. Um, Delay, denial, and termination of assistance. Look, there's a lot of ways for you to mess this up. If you somehow manage to get into the system and you are here illegally and they figure that stuff out, they will put you out and then they will ban you permanently. And there's a lot of other different rules here on bullet points that you can read through about termination of services. Look, guys, those of you that like to go and check in, get this program and then go tear shit up in people's homes, you're done. You are absolutely done for the foreseeable future. If you go in there and you tear up somebody's home or some rental property, you tear up the floor, you let your kids knock holes in the wall and scribble shit all over the wall, stuff like that. Not only will they end up sending you a bill for that, you will be barred permanently for life, and not just this program, every program that's connected to it, okay? So I'm telling you, the guys out here that are trashing places, which is a small percent, you're just making, you're really just making your own life a living hell. That's what you're doing. So you better learn to treat people's property with respect. Okay, it's already people are out here to help you. And this program's designed to make rent cheaper. So for you to go in and tear things up doesn't make any sense. All right. And notification denial, and also due to citizenship, you can read about that. Compliance with verification requirements. Look, if you don't come up with the paperwork they want, then it's not going to happen. Okay. And they're going to tell you about disclosure of social security numbers. Okay. Do not attempt to use somebody else's social security number. That's a good way to get yourself a 5-year federal term in a prison. Okay. And then they will house you for free there. Okay. They love to house people in prisons. You are in the U.S. Yeah, it does. This is the thing about politicians. They love to create exceptionally long manuals. The background screening is absolutely required, and there are certain types of criminal conduct that get you in trouble. Look, guys, I'm going to be very clear with you. If you have a sexual offense on there, it's going to be a big problem for you. And if you have, in some cases, if you have been convicted of crimes that involve drugs, okay, specific types of drugs like the kind that are illegal, it won't present so much of a problem for the program, but it will present a problem for landlords, and you'll probably get a high, you probably will be very unsuccessful getting housing, okay? So anyways, I go in length with that for a few pages about your criminal record and what you're looking at. And then they may also require drug treatment and treatment facilities for you, okay? You've got to comply with whatever rules. If you want a free lunch with these people, then you're going to have to do whatever they're asking you, okay? They also have discretionary, which means if they believe that you're going to be unsuccessful, or if you lived a life that's been so criminally involved in other things, or you're creating a situation where it's going to be a problem and they don't believe that you're going to survive this system and getting you in, then they may just reject you from there, okay? So I don't know what to tell you. If I were you, I'd read all the bullet points and make sure you're not going to be one of those people that they're just not going to want to deal with, okay? EIB system searches, that basically it's a database that covers every program across the U.S., and they're going to be looking into that to see if you're trying to cheat the system, okay? If you are actively doing that, and you got away with it in the 60s or the 80s, it's going to catch up because now they're starting to actually backlog those records and then put them in the system. Exiting tenant search and avoiding duplicate subsidy just means don't duplicate your efforts, okay? That's not considered cheating. It just means that you're absent-minded. Debts owed to PHAs, okay? So look, when you tear things up and you damage people's property, you're looking at lawsuits, it'll go on your credit, and then you'll be barred, okay? You'll be barred for life. That'll be the end. So you have two options. You can sit in a homeless shelter, go purchase a tent, okay? 120-day renewal of income reports. So they may request at certain intervals during this process that you prove that you have not become a successful lawyer, that you've not won the lottery, and then if you have won the lottery, you need to get out. Okay, very simple. Notification to family, they're going to require contacts. They often put it in the form of emergency contacts. The reality is they want about 50 different ways to reach you in case you owe them something, okay? That's what it always works out to be. And then, of course, they put the notification requirements. It's always a cloak and dagger game. The more numbers and addresses you give away to family and friends, the more way they have to hunt you now, okay? Communication, limited English proficiency requirements. You know what? I'm going to let you just read that, okay? It's not that important in the determination of whether you're doing this. Consideration of circumstances. Look, you realize that some people have a lot of things to be considered, especially if you're homeless, if you've been out there a long time. So, they're willing to work with people that have very difficult circumstances. Maybe you're a single mother with a couple of kids that have severe disabilities, things like that. So that may potentially increase your chances to move up the line. There's a lot of flexibility there. They'll probably want to deal with you in wraparound services and different things like that. So I'd encourage you to read 13.3. I'm going to check the time because I want to make sure I haven't rattled on past 10 minutes. So we're at 14 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and close this out. Look, guys, the main thing is you need to take all your free time when you get times and read through it, and you'll be able to identify where you fit into this. And then the larger picture will come together and you'll see and understand how you will likely rank on a list and how you might be able to push yourself a little bit higher based on the information you're reading. Okay, guys, I've enjoyed talking to you, and I'll be publishing a video later today, and we'll be talking about uh, housing. What do you call it? Housing for humanity. We'll be discussing that, pros and cons, and see whether or not that's going to be a viable solution for you as well. Okay, thank you. Bye.